these guys, you can see, have been accumulating, right? They've been accumulating pretty sizable amounts over time. A lot of this is driven from FTX, a lot of withdrawals from the exchanges, right? Now, when we go up into the institutional grade wallets, we get very much the opposite. Okay, so we see retail investors are buying, right? Pretty much at all those demographic levels, they're all purchasing up. And of course, on the larger institutional side, that's not what we see. Okay, we can see that the sharks, they were actually accumulating before the pump, okay, because these are traders. 100 Bitcoin or more, shark wallets. These are basically essentially professional traders. That's how I articulate them as. They usually follow price action. And in the case of what they've done recently is seeing what's coming in and basically got ahead of that curve. And so you can see here they accumulated during December, and then they're taking profits after that pump has occurred, right? You can see them coming down in the number of wallets that they have. Then, of course, you've got the Bitcoin whales, 1,000 Bitcoin or more. And again, these guys have been just coming down, and down, into new lower lows for this bear market. Currently, there are only 2,002 wallets that have 1,000 Bitcoin or more. Okay, and just to kind of put this into perspective, this is a 365-day view of these wallets. Okay, so you can see these guys have been selling on retail investors for a very significant period of time. This is what the retail investors look like. Okay, retail investors are buying the Bitcoin directly from the whale investor. Okay, these are important things that we have to acknowledge because, unfortunately, you need these institutional grade investors, these billionaires and these multimillionaires, to be investing in Bitcoin if you want the Bitcoin's price action to significantly rally. If you want to be talking about $100,000 Bitcoin, then you need to have whales invested. You need them on your side. Instead, at the moment, what you're seeing is a lot of retail investors FOMOing in because they believe that a bottom is in and a bottom for the bear market has occurred, and that is exit liquidity for whale investors. Whale investors love to kind of manipulate, trick, and control markets, okay, which is why we talk a lot about smart money concepts on the channel, right? And if you are not familiar, then check out cheekyschool.com, linked in the description below. Now, when we see the wallet counts of what's been going on with these institutional grade wallets, then institutional grade players, right? It's important that we reflect on, okay, well, what do these things actually mean? And we've tried to pull all this data together. What is it that we're really looking for? And for that, we need to also reflect on what happened in 2018. In 2018's bear market, we saw a few really interesting things. Here we can see that the shrimps, these are the retail investors, they were told that this was the bottom, right? So they accumulated. No, then this was the bottom over in April, so they accumulated. Then they were wrong there, all these moon boys were wrong, so no, definitely June, it's the bottom, right? And they start to accumulate. It's not until this flat period over here where faith is lost in Bitcoin that these retail investors start to sell. Okay, they start to sell here. Price goes sideways. Everything comes down to supply and demand, which means if these guys are selling, where is it going? Because price isn't going down, okay, which means that supply is being soaked up. So if retail investors are selling, you'll guess it right, the whale investors are buying, okay? So you can see that the whale investors are doing nothing or just kind of coming out and selling or whatever, usually during the bear market. And then, of course, up here, you can see that they're buying during this flat period. Okay, and that is essentially where these retail investors are selling, all the way down into the bottom. Okay, you can see that they start to accumulate just before the final bottom is actually in, and then they can see this kind of move up. You can see them gravitating to the upside. A lot of people mistake, right? They cut this data, they just look at this point here and they say, look, when this first started, when the 2019 bull market started, what we saw were retail investors that started that bull run. And it's wrong. It's not what happened at all. Retail investors sold into the bottom and then they started to accumulate. Okay? What caused the bull market was essentially that the whale investors had finally got into the market. Okay? Do not expect a bullish market until these guys are starting to accumulate at the lows. Okay? They need people to sell Bitcoin to them. Okay? So they need retail investors to sell the Bitcoin that they've accumulated to the whale investor in order for the whale investor to be able to continue that accumulation and continue pushing the price to the upside. Now, the thing that I will also point out is that whales will be selling into the final pump to the upside. Okay, they'll be coming out as price goes up. Okay, and they'll be coming into Bitcoin as price comes down. Okay, these are the things that this is how liquidity essentially is working within Bitcoin, within these larger institutional whales. They can't just simply put an order out there and just go to town. They'll remove the price and they'll be paying premium or selling at a loss, right? they need to gradually, slowly come in and come out of the markets. And so for the most part, that's kind of where that sits, right? So when we take a look at our wallets, we can see, okay, well, whales are continuing to sell, right? Again, something that we haven't seen to this scale in Bitcoin's history as a new variable, right? And we're not seeing that big money coming in. All we're seeing is weak retail money coming in, and we can't really go to the moon on retail money. We need to be able to push the needle more significantly. We need to get that momentum in the price action. Do not expect price to move up without big institutional money coming in first, okay? Now, the Kraken size wallet in 2018 did this, essentially accumulates during the bear market and then floods the system with excess supply, dragging the price of Bitcoin into the actual lows. You can see here, all of this was accumulating for one purpose, flood the market. Okay, now where are we in our current view for this wallet? Well, they've been accumulating during this bear market just like they did in 2018, and we're waiting for that flood. We're waiting for that bear market low to come on in. So when we take a look at all of these things, it's important that we reflect on them.